I work at a facility that burns memories, never stay past the final flame. You ever smell something burning that you can't quite place? Like wood, but sharper. Familiar, but wrong? That's what it's like when a memory dies. Not fades, dies. I know that because I work at a government-adjacent facility no one talks about. Officially, we're called the Cognitive Residue Purification Division. Unofficially, we're just known as the memory burners. People think memories disappear when you forget. They don't. They stick. They rot. They ferment. In some rare cases, they even gain a kind of momentum, as if a forgotten thought becomes desperate for attention. Dangerous ones are sent here. Extracted from test subjects, coma patients, the dying, or, occasionally, from people who've simply seen too much. The facility looks like a crematorium. Industrial furnaces, walkways with red lights, and a dozen steel tables with restraints. The memories come in jars, sometimes as vapor, sometimes like black mold, sometimes as squirming red threads in glass. Our job is to load them into the furnace, say the clearance code, and burn them. Completely. Without exceptions. But not all memories go quietly. On my first day, they handed me a clean room suit, gloves, and a laminated rule sheet. Nothing digital was allowed in the facility, not even watches. I asked why. They said time had a tendency to drip inside memory burn rooms. Warp, stretch, loop. I laughed. I don't laugh anymore. Here are the rules. They never explained them, they just said you'll understand when you see it. Rules of the memory burn room. 1. Never enter the burn chamber before the previous flame extinguishes, even if it looks safe. 2. If a memory speaks, do not respond. It will learn your name. 3. Do not burn more than one memory at a time, no matter how small. They compete. 4. If the furnace lights itself, evacuate. Something followed the last memory in. 5. You may see someone you recognize in the flame. It is not them. Do not let it distract you. 6. Should a memory beg not to be burned, call Supervisor Lang. Do not decide for yourself. 7. Never stay in the facility after the final flame. Once the last fire dies, something else takes its place. Last week, someone broke Rule 7. Attendant Rios, a quiet guy who kept to himself, stayed late. No one noticed until morning. The security feed from the burn room that night was corrupted, except for the last 10 seconds. It showed the flame suddenly turn blue, and Rios backing into a corner, clutching his head, whispering, "It's not my thought. It's not my thought." They never found his body. Just his suit, neatly folded, and placed in the center of the burn chamber. Inside the helmet was a single thread of smoke, curling upward, still moving hours later. No one spoke about it, but I noticed his name on the burn queue 2 days later. As the memory. Some memories don't want to be forgotten. They're not passive. They're not echoes. They're active, malignant fragments of something once human, made unstable by grief, madness, or obsession. Burned memories fight back. They scream. They recreate. One time I saw my childhood bedroom burst from the furnace flames, recreated in ash and fire, complete with my mother standing in the corner, motionless, head bent. When I blinked, it was gone. But the smell lingered. Roses and burning teeth. I think the worst part is, after a while, they feel familiar. You start to wonder if maybe one of them is yours. If you ever forgot something awful, something you should have burned but didn't. That's how they trick you. That's how they stay. Last night was my final shift. The board listed only one memory to burn. No name. No origin. Just a jar, sealed in dark glass, humming faintly. It felt heavy in my hand, but not physically. Like holding the idea of a burden. I walked into the furnace, did the code, and waited for ignition. The flame didn't rise like normal, it coiled, like it was watching me. It pulsed. Then it spoke. "You left me in the stairwell." The words weren't loud. They weren't threatening. Just sad. Tired. And I felt the air leave my lungs. Because I did leave someone in the stairwell. 23 years ago, during a house fire. My sister. I was only a kid. But I ran. I saved myself. I never told anyone. And somehow, this memory had it. It was her. Or something pretending to be. I broke Rule 2. I said her name. Now the flame won't die. It's still burning. Blue, green, black. The whole room is filled with smoke that doesn't dissipate. I'm locked in here. And I'm writing this on an old logbook from the emergency shelf, because that's all they let me keep. I hear her voice in the vents now. She's not mad. She's waiting. She says when the flame finally dies, I can join her. She'll remember for both of us. Please, if you ever find a listing for memory disposal, or cognitive incineration, or anything involving dream ash, don't apply. Don't come here. Don't remember this. Let the fire burn out. Just don't be here when it does. The problem is, I didn't leave. Not because I was brave, or trapped, or noble. I didn't leave because I physically couldn't. The control panel at the burn chamber door, the one that used to hiss open with a card swipe, was just gone. Not broken. Not damaged. Gone. Like it had never existed. In its place was smooth wall paneling with faint indentations, almost like muscle beneath skin. I screamed. I punched it. Nothing. The flame kept burning behind me, high and twisting, licking the air with inhuman rhythm. I could feel it watching me. And then came the sound. Not crackling. Not the hiss of fire. Breathing. The flame was breathing. And the breath matched my own, inhaling as I inhaled, exhaling just a millisecond behind me. Mimicking. Copying. Becoming. The light around the furnace wasn't flickering anymore, it was pulsing, in time with my heartbeat. I stumbled back, covering my mouth, trying not to cry out. The edges of the room began to soften, no longer steel and concrete, but something organic. Pulsing. As if I were inside the memory now, not just burning it. Something was waking up. That's when the temperature dropped. You'd think fire would mean heat, blistering, unbearable heat. But this flame? This memory? It burned cold. My breath misted. My teeth chattered. Ice crept across the floor in crooked veins, reaching toward my boots, the kind of cold that doesn't come from temperature but from removal, as if heat had been extracted from the room and sealed away in a jar. Like a memory. And in that moment, I understood. This wasn't just her. It wasn't just my sister. This was every memory I had forgotten, every shame I had shoved into the cracks of my life, every moment I had pretended never happened. The fire wasn't here to punish me. It was here to replay me, strip me down and wear my moments like skin. I turned toward the door again. This time, it was open. Not the way it used to be, sliding metal, hydraulic hiss, but a hole carved in the wall, the edges twitching, wet and red. A hallway extended beyond, lined with hundreds, maybe thousands, of jars. All of them mine. I recognized them instantly. The scratch on the lid of the one I threw in rage. The crack in the bottom of the one I swore I'd never reopen. They were all open now. Memories leaked down the walls like oil. I saw versions of myself, hunched, sobbing, grinning, stumbling through the hall. One version tried to speak, but his jaw unhinged and collapsed into ash. Another one followed me silently, steps echoing, perfectly in sync. I ran. The hallway twisted, turned, looped back into itself. Doors led into fire, mirrors, childhood bedrooms, school hallways. I passed my father's death. My first heartbreak. The time I stood by and watched something terrible happen and said nothing. The time I lied. The time I hurt someone and pretended it was for their own good. Every step, the flame followed, but not behind me anymore. It burned inside me. My skin glowed faintly blue at the edges. I felt light. Hollow. Not in a peaceful way, but like I was being slowly emptied. A hollowing so something else could fill the space. When I made it back to the burn chamber, or maybe it was just a room pretending to be the chamber, I saw the furnace was now open. Gaping. Inside wasn't fire anymore. It was glass. A reflection. Of me, standing exactly as I was. But in the reflection, I was smiling. And I wasn't alone. The memory was there too. My sister, unchanged from the night I left her behind. Standing next to me. Her skin gray and cracked, her eyes empty, her mouth slowly forming words. There's still room for one more. And then the reflection stepped out. I ran. But where do you go when the thing chasing you is you, and the place chasing you is every moment you forgot? That was 3 days ago, I think. Or 3 years. I don't know anymore. Time here isn't linear. I found an office once, filled with clocks, everyone ticking differently, none of them correct. I saw a monitor flash briefly, facility reset pending, memory host assimilation, 99%. And that's when I realized the flame never needed me to stay. It just needed me to remember. I'm writing this in case someone else finds the room, walks the halls, hears the flame whisper their name. The facility has other doors. Other ways in. Forgotten access points, buried systems, Dormant memories waiting to ignite. If it offers to show you something you forgot, say no. If it smiles with your own face, turn away. If it burns cold, run. Because once the flame remembers you, you'll never be alone again. And when it finds someone new, you'll be the one left behind. Still burning. Still breathing. Still waiting to be forgotten. I thought forgetting was a mercy, a kindness, a natural failure of the human mind to hold on to pain. But now I understand forgetting is a form of violence. The moment we let go of a memory, really let it slip into nothing, it doesn't die. It becomes desperate. And when enough desperation collects in one place, it begins to speak. It begins to burn. The facility isn't just a building anymore. Not really. The walls are still here, yes, the industrial hum of vents, the red status lights that never turn green. But the deeper I move, the more I realize this place has no end. It reshapes around memory. Every corridor I run through now is a memory I forgot, folded into metal and fire and flame. I passed a hallway last night that looked exactly like my grandmother's kitchen, not a reconstruction, but exact. The peeling paint. The hanging spoon. Even the flickering ceiling bulb she used to curse under her breath about. But the smell was wrong. It wasn't food. It was hair, singed and smoldering. And she was there. Just standing at the stove. Her back to me. When I tried to speak, she turned, her face wasn't hers. It was mine. Mouth sewn shut with blackened thread. I keep thinking I'll wake up. That this is some memory loop. That someone, somewhere, is watching me through glass, jotting notes on a clipboard about exposure to unstable cognitive fields. That I'm a test subject and this is all a delusion brought on by guilt. But I found the furnace again. Not a memory of it, the real one. I knew because of what was inside. There was a jar. Still warm. Still sealed. With my name on it. And the date? Tomorrow. I should have run. But there was nowhere left to go. Behind me, the hallway pulsed like veins. The lights dimmed into a soft amber, and the air filled with that unmistakable scent. Not smoke, not ash, but something yearning. That's what it is. The flame doesn't hate. It longs. Every memory we burn, every awful, unbearable thought, it gathers them. Wears them. Builds itself from them. I lifted the jar. My hands shook. Inside was movement. Not writhing, not violent, but twitching. Like something dreaming. Something alive, but not fully born. I could hear whispering, faint and wet, like someone breathing into water. Let me finish becoming you. It said it gently. Lovingly. Like a promise. I almost opened it. But something in me screamed. Not a voice, not a memory, just pure terror, the primal kind, the kind that surges when you realize a predator is close, but you can't see it yet. I dropped the jar and ran. The hallway changed again. This time, it wasn't mine. It was yours. I recognized the posters on the wall. The cracked tile. The shape of your screen. The memory wasn't mine anymore, it was reaching for someone else. You. Because I saw you. You were there, sitting in your chair, reading. Just for a moment. And then you were gone. A flicker. A reflection. But it was enough. The flame had found another thread to pull. I'm not sure what's real anymore. I found another logbook yesterday, this one written in handwriting identical to mine. Page after page of details I don't remember writing, events I hadn't lived, all ending with the same sentence, in bolder strokes. You are not the first. The walls know me now. They breathe softer when I pass. The lights pulse slower, matching my pulse exactly. The flame no longer waits in the furnace. It walks beside me, in my shadow, behind my eyes, inside every mirrored surface I dare glance at. I saw it smile from the ripple of a puddle. It had my teeth. The more I try to forget, the stronger it becomes. That's how it feeds. I have no more pages left. I've torn pieces of my uniform to keep writing. But it won't matter. This story isn't being read on paper anymore. It's bleeding into minds. It's a thought, and thoughts don't die. They echo. They multiply. You reading this? That's enough. That's how it gets in. That's how it remembers. They called us memory burners. We thought we were cleaning the past. But we were kindling. Now the fire walks in memory, in guilt, in trauma, in names whispered too late to matter. Every forgotten moment is a door. Every locked away thought is a corridor. And the flame knows the way better than any of us. So I leave you with only this. If the lights flicker, if a hallway in your house seems longer than it used to, if you smell something familiar but twisted, burning without flame, if you hear someone say your name in a voice not quite yours, don't answer. Because once it speaks to you, you're part of the memory. And no one ever forgets the ones who burn too long. Not even the flame.